You're listening to Short Inspirations from Ralph. Change, Part 5. In this episode of the series, I want to look at the third step we take, and that is a willing spirit. Psalm 51:12, Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. Let's be clear about this. David doesn't make false promises about what he's going to do next. False promises about the future. I'm going to be perfect from here on out. I'm going into the new year, like a New Year's resolution, and this is where it's going to be now. Here's my resolution. This is what my life will look like. I won't make those mistakes again. Thank you for your grace. No, he doesn't do that. Neither should we. For we're going to make mistakes. We're going to trip up and have struggles at times. But David does pray for a willing spirit. He prays for desire. He prays for the want to. Because without the willing spirit, we can't sustain God's work in us. We don't stay along for the ride. You see, the issue is that people get used to their dysfunction or their sin because there's a certain attraction. It's a love-hate relationship. There's some stuff in our flesh we love doing. The addictions, the stuff that gets us out of reality. But we hate it at the same time. So it's a very, very important thing. It's like when Jesus asked the man who had been sick and paralyzed for almost 40 years. This is 2,000 years ago. He asked, do you want to get well? Now, what a silly question, you'd think, or audacious. But it's very real because we have to want to get well. And at times, and I know when I look at my own heart, I'm not sure that's what I really want. And let me say, it's a good thing to want to honour God, follow Scripture and honour your family. But if you don't want to change in your heart, in the deepest part of you, if you don't want to change, then you won't. If you don't want differences in your life, then you won't change. We need a willing spirit. We need to learn to take steps with Jesus, not a perfectionist spirit. That's very different, but a willing spirit. And so we need to want this thing called change. Someone once said, your desire to change must be greater than your desire to stay the same. I said earlier that change comes through two main things. One is that the pain is so much that a person has to change, or a person is so inspired by something that they want to change. My suggestion is not to wait for those things, but to make great decisions now to bring change into your life, to improve. And one of the problems is that we can't see into the future, we can't see clearly, and how wonderful our lives could be when change does come. And so we have to do it by faith. We have to be willing to learn new rhythms of grace by faith, by things we can't see. In other words, we have to trust God, put our lives in His hands to trust. And for those who do this, who learn this dance that I've referred to, of taking the steps, being really honest, allowing God's grace to wash over us, and being willing, then there is a fourth and final step in the movement. And we're going to look at that in the next podcast. God bless you.